चलिए, I hope I'm audible, online people. Yes, very good morning, everyone. So let us begin. क्या हो गया? लाओ भाई, जल्दी लाओ. करें, शुरू करें. So anti-terrorism, because recently government of India got enthusiastic, and enforcement directorate and Delhi police has conducted arrest, search, seizure, particularly of the biggest threat to Indian democracy, the journalists. Okay, so they have been arrested and imprisoned. In that context, we will look at the comprehensive framework of terrorism in India. This entire news is very important and detailed. Beyond this, you need nothing else. Do not waste your time. It is more than sufficient for your internal security and the complex architecture of anti-terror laws in India. We will understand various dimensions, including some foreign studies about how should we deal with this issue of terrorism. Okay, please remember this. So, more important for your GS paper 3 essay, and most important, interview. Because interview mein they want to ask such kind of question. They always ask questions which are of contemporary issues, and they see how you behave. They will say, if you would be the commissioner of police of Delhi and this arrest would be taking place, what would you do? They try to put you in situation. So for that, you need to have a holistic understanding first. Okay, please remember that. So let's start. We know Delhi police has invoked the UAPA to seal the offices of some news portal, particularly this portal known as NewsClick, alleging it received fund from promoting pro-China propaganda. How would you define promoting some pro-China propaganda? I do not know. Okay. Anyway, so let us see how it works. First, we need to understand what is terrorism. We already know. Terrorism means what do we understand by terrorism? Terrorism means organized crime with a just cause. Any organized crime that has a just cause associated with this, basically terrorism. Because as such, understand this, there is no universally acknowledged definition of terrorism as of yet. No country will agree on any definition anyway. The prime reason is because every country to some extent is involved somewhere. For example, Baluchistan, the separatists of Baluchistan, is the province of Pakistan. Pakistani government treats them as terrorists. We treat them as freedom fighters. Same thing happens in Palestine. The Palestine, where you have Palestinian Liberation Organization, which had carried out suicide bombing and all dramas. The Israeli government and most of the Western government consider PLO as a terrorist organization. We never consider it a terrorist organization. We consider it the true representative of Palestinians. Same you go to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, you had LTTE, LTTE. So that organization, we never consider terrorist. Why? Of course, Sri Lankan Hindus, we have sentiments for them. Sri Lankan government considered them terrorists, and there was a civil war. Same you can go in Myanmar. Myanmar, the Buddhist majority consider Rohingya Muslims and their Arakan Salvation Army as a terrorist organization. We don't consider like this. So understand the problem. Somebody's terrorist is always somebody's patriot, depending upon where you stand. So understand this definition is very complex and it is very subjective. Depending where you stand, the same very person can become your patriot or can become your terrorist. And very prime example I always take is United States of America. When Mujahideens were raised by Pakistan on behest of America. When USSR invaded Afghanistan in 1979, 89 में बाहर आ गया था वो. 1979 में USSR invaded Afghanistan, and America knew that USSR is a nuclear powered country, and if I go into Afghanistan, it's a direct nuclear war, something America cannot afford. So America used Pakistan. Pakistan could give money, weapons, and Saudi Arabia provide ideology. The terrorism ideology that you have right now is known as Sunni Wahhabism. Sunni. It is a radical Islamist ideology, the current one, Sunni Wahhabism. And Saudi Arabia is the biggest promoter of Sunni Wahhabism. Okay, please remember this. So, Saudi Arabia provided fund and ideology to basically radicalize people. America provided fund and weapons to Pakistan. And Pakistan raised people known as Mujahideen, so-called fighter of Allah or Islam. Why they were raised? They were raised against USSR. The logic was USSR is a communist country. Communism does not believe in religion. For example, China is an atheist. आपको पता हो तो Chinese government official religion is atheist. It does not believe in religions because Marxism believes that religion is the opium of masses. Religion is what? It's opium, drug. The way you give drug to somebody and the person behave irrationally, same is religion. You can use religion and can make anyone and do anything. वो व्यक्ति जिसने जिंदगी में 2 रुपए दान नहीं किए, you can make that person to donate his entire fortune. That's the power of religion. So communists believe that religion is the opium of masses, a drug of masses. So all communist countries, remember, are atheist. And Islam mein atheism is a sin. So what Pakistan did? Pakistan told to this Mujahideen people that you are not fighting against USSR. You are fighting against Kafir. That's why they were called Mujahideens, the fighter of Islam or Allah against Kafirs. Who are these Kafirs? USSR. Clear to everyone? You can Google this. The American president has pictures with these Mujahideens. They were sitting in American president office, the Oval Office, and American president was calling them freedom fighter of Afghanistan. Same people. When these people in 2001 carries out an attack on Twin Tower of America, America classified them as terrorists. So the very same people which America created, they were freedom fighter as long as they were fighting against USSR. The second they turned toward America, they became terrorists. So please keep this at the background. Now let us see what is the legal framework in India to deal with terrorism. Generally, what is the definition of terrorism? Organized crime plus. This just cause vary from time to time. Sometime it was nationalism. World War I hope everyone knows. Serbian nationalists killed French Ferdinand, the Prince of Austria, that led to the First World War. That was an act of terrorism. So during World War I or between World War I, terrorism was associated with nationalism, something you cannot associate today. Today, largely terrorism is associated with the just causes, jihad. Understand this, jihad and crusades are very common. If you look at the medieval European history, it is filled with jihad and crusade. Basically, it's a religious war. Jihad and crusades in Christianity and jihad in Islam. और आपको पता ही होगा Judaism, Jews, Christianity and Islam, basically kind of brother-sister religion. They all have same origin. They are known as Abrahamic religion. They came from one inside other. So for example, Islam mein Jesus is one of the prophet. Jesus is one of the prophet in Islam, but Muhammad is a last prophet. After it, there is no prophet. So clear are these things? So remember, Judaism, Christianity, Islam are more or less same. They have same tenets and they have same main origin. The Abrahamic religion they are called. Say, for example, Hinduism, Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism has the same origin. Hinduism came and Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism came out of Hinduism. सबको clear है? Please remember, the just cause vary from time to time. So in that context, we have a law, very beautiful law, enacted by the most peace-loving person on earth, the Indira Gandhi. ठीक है? So fine, देखते हैं what is this? Constitutional guarantees against arrest and detention. Article 22 of the Constitution of India deals with protection against arrest and detention in certain cases. This is applicable to, please remember everyone, to both citizen and non-citizen. What is citizen? A citizen is a member of a state. Citizenship क्या होता है? It's the certificate of the membership of a state. And what is a state? Territory, population ruled by a sovereign. And the sovereign often becomes the government. But remember, government is not sovereign. State is sovereign. But because state is an idea not visible, so the next visible thing is government. Okay, please remember this. So there are certain provision. Article 22 clause 1 clauses are not important. Just remember Article 22. Fine for you. Article 22 clause 1 says any person who is in custody has to be informed about the ground of his arrest and has the right to consult an advocate. So when you are being arrested, the police is under duty, constitutional duty. It's your right, their duty to tell you what is your ground of arrest, why they are arresting you if they arrest you, and plus they cannot stop you from accessing any counsel. And Supreme Court has further clarified this. Supreme Court said that informing about ground of arrest का मतलब ये नहीं है you're informing the person to be arrested. For example, I arrested you, put you into prison and told you, भाई, I arrested you for this reason. What is the point? कौन सा आप लॉयर के पास चले जाओगे? So informing you of ground of arrest means informing you or any person who can arrange your legal defense. It does not mean the person who is arrested shall be informed. It is mean any person who is in the authority capacity to arrange your legal defense must be informed. Clear, everyone? So Constitution does not mention this, but Supreme Court has interpreted this provision further. Okay, please remember these two rights of yours. Second, if you are arrested, you must be produced before a judicial magistrate within 24 hours. But there is a catch here. This 24 hours does not include travel time. ये थोड़ा problem है. I believe it should be eradicated because today we have technology. It should be made compulsory. If you are arresting somebody, produce that person within 1 hour to a judicial magistrate. And how you can do that? Video conferencing. भाई वो जमाना गया. When these constitution provision were written, we were in 1947 and 1950 में we got it. 1950 में there was no technology. Nobody could imagine we would have a video conferencing kind of thing. Now we have it. So we have to qualify this. This 24 hour I believe is too much in technology era. It should be maximum, it should be 4 to 5 hours. And there should be a condition, if you're unable to produce a person before a magistrate, you must produce him or her through video conferencing immediately. Failure of which it will be considered the arrest was illegal. We should add this. We are not a police state. Police state, you understand? A state which governs itself by police. And police state is antithetical to democracy. Clear, everyone? Please remember this. So we have to add something here. Magistrate के आगे ये होता है. The thing is, magistrate. The second you are produced before a magistrate, na, magistrate asks first question: were you hurt? And then ask the police why you arrested this person. Magistrate is supposed to be immune from government, and that person asks this kind of question. But understand this: as George Orwell has said, government is everywhere, and judiciary is not completely isolated. Okay, government gets its way. That's why you have a lot of people in prison. जैसे अभी इसमें है, we will do prison statistics. Majority of people in prisons are not convicted. They are under trials. People whose trial has not been concluded means those people could be innocent. And a lot of people spend their entire life in jail in spite of being innocent. Why it happens? Because police knows our judiciary is very fast, you know. It is very fast. It solves cases very easily. So they intentionally put false cases. They know it's a false case and you will prove it. They know this. You will prove it. The problem is they know that the fastness of Indian judiciary makes sure that you will suffer something. आप मान के चलिए even if you have a lot of backing, तब भी at minimum 1 साल तो मान लीजिए. 1 year of your life will be wasted in a court case, even if it is utterly false. ठीक है? For that you need to be empowered also, because ऐसे नहीं होता game. चलिए. क्या? Every arrest, doesn't matter why you are arrested. अभी हम करेंगे, इसमें exception है, preventive detention. वो अभी करेंगे. Wait a second. So Article 23 clause 22 clause 3, again clauses are not important, just remember the article. It says nothing in clause 1 and clause 2 shall apply to any person for whom the time being is an enemy alien. Constitution uses the word enemy alien. Alien means anyone who is non-citizen. Enemy alien means a person with India has some kind of dispute. For example, Pakistani in this case can become enemy alien. So if an enemy alien is arrested, the protection like producing before a magistrate in 24 hours, the the ground of arrest, the right to counsel may or may not be granted. This is an exception. Second exception is preventive detention. And the Constitution says a person in detention cannot exceed 3 months unless an advisory board reports sufficient cause for extending the detention. Means you are, if arrested, you can be denied right to counsel, even right to access to judiciary for at most 3 months. After that, you must be suggested by an advisory board. What is the problem? The problem is this advisory board does not have judicial officers. It has executive officers like DM. We have executive officers are government's own people. ठीक है, तो fine. So first thing, let's start blaming first. The first people we will blame is Nehru, as government does for everything. We have to. Why? Because 1936 में आपको पता ही होगा, before 1936 we had Rowlatt Act. I hope सबको पता है. Rowlatt Acts were enacted by the Britishers on the recommendation of a committee, Sydney Rowlatt Committee, on her or his जो भी होगा वो, उसके नाम पे it is known as Rowlatt Acts. These acts were preventive detention law. What is the difference between preventive and punitive? What is the difference between preventive and punitive? In punitive detention, a person is punished for an offense committed by him or her after trial and conviction. Punitive means you committed a crime, police arrested you, created a charge sheet, filed a charge sheet in the court, you were tried in the court, then you were given a punishment. That is called punitive. Preventive detention means you have not committed any crime yet, but police believes you can or you may commit a crime. Okay? They get a dream or something that you may commit a crime. As such, I believe it's very, very bad, but that we will do later. So, there are two kinds of detention. Preventive means you have not committed a crime. Police arrests you because, of course, we cannot wait for you to do a crime. If the police have a sufficient cause to believe that you can commit a crime, they can arrest you. As such, on book, this provision is not very bad. But what is bad? Hypocrisy. Because we fought against this law against Britishers. When Britishers brought this law, we carried out satyagraha. We were like, how could you bring preventive detention? It's undemocratic, you British people. Okay? But यहाँ पे at least they brought a law. Veto included this in constitution itself. Or that too, fundamental right chapter. Hypocrisy is extreme. And who to blame? I again say the Nehru has to blame here. Because Nehru promised Indians. In 1936, a civil liberty union was founded. Civil Liberty Union was founded. The purpose of Civil Liberty Union was to assist the people who have been convicted or who have been arrested by the Britishers in legal defense. During the foundation day of this, Nehru promised Indians on a speech that the independent India will not have any black laws, because Gandhi used to call Rowlatt Act as black laws. And he promised us, and he belied that promise. This should not be the part of constitution at any cost. We will understand why this is a severe, I would say, betrayal of the freedom fighters. They should not have included this. The question is why? Now, there is a problem. देखिए, you are very idealist when you are out of government. आप में से आधे से ज़्यादा मेरी बातों से agree कर रहे होंगे. हाँ sir, you are very right. We should not have this. But the second you will enter into government, oh, I love this law. Understand, when you are the subject of power, you cry. When you are the implementer of power, you enjoy. And this is the problem with, आपको क्या लगता है, in 75 years of independence, no IAS officer, no judge knows about this. Even they may have been witness to this kind of provision sometime in their life. They, some of their relatives or any of their family members or anyone must be subjected to this law. And that point of time, they must have cried also. Oh my God, how draconian. But the second they get into power, they are like, oh, I enjoy this law. So this problem we have, but nonetheless, whom to blame? I would say we have to blame our freedom fighters first, because they were responsible for a constitution free from this law. They promised. सबसे बड़ी बात है, they promised us. They belied their promise, so it's a cheating on to us. Okay, please remember this. Now let's see what are the anti-terrorist law in India quickly. First anti-terror law we have is TADA. हिस्ट्री शीटर्स. हाँ, सबसे पहले उन्हें उठाते हैं. हाँ, यस, बिकॉज मेरे हिसाब से तो अनफेयर है, उन्होंने क्राइम नहीं किया, दे हैव कमिटेड अ क्राइम. अब क्या कर रहे हैं, बार बार यू, इफ यू आर अरेस्टिंग देम, यू आर रिमाइंडिंग देम दैट यू आर अ क्रिमिनल. they cannot be. Okay, always remember the purpose of justice is not to punish, it's to reform. Nowhere in the world, for example, we make a law: do not jump a red light. So it is to deter the people. We do not want you to become jump a red light, get into an accident, and injure yourself and other people. मजा थोड़ी ना आ रहा है मैं to make this law and punish you. No law aims to punish, all law aims to reform. ये थोड़ा गलत होता है, but क्या करें? ठीक है, police has some limitation. They have a big limitation. You have seen a police officer beat anyone. Why they beat? Because there's one thing. Imagine there is a person who was stealing something. A police person caught him, beat him, and let him go. It's easy. Second option is arrest him, make a charge sheet, go to court, file a case. That case will go for thousands of years. Who knows? Okay. So police knows that कैसे? How would I have this time? ऊपर से they have to do salam hajuri for these politicians who will call them, आ जाओ बेटा मसाज करवानी है. So these are the problems they witness. I always say, unless we bring judicial reform and police reforms in India, nothing will change. That's why I always say that it is often remarked, India there was no independence. It was a transfer of power. You look at the provision, they are more or less similar of the Britishers. The only thing that has happened in India is you have right to vote. That's it. Apart from that, India is still a police state. Clear? So remember that. We will discuss this later, some commission's report. So what is this TADA? TADA was, when it was 1987, I think during Rajiv Gandhi's time or later, the law gave wide power to law enforcement agencies. टाडा मुझे ईयर गलत लग रहा है, आई बिलीव, बिकॉज इंदिरा गांधी के टाइम पे भी टाडा था, आई बिलीव, मुझे याद आ रहा है. तो प्लीज चेक दिस टाडा एक्ट का ईयर कौन सा है, प्लीज चेक इट आउट. सो व्हाट इज टाडा, लेट्स सी. This law gave wide powers to law enforcement agencies for dealing with national terror and socially disruptive. क्या हुआ? अच्छा, मॉडिफाई किया था, वो मुझे लगा क्योंकि इंदिरा गांधी ने इसका बहुत इस्तेमाल किया था. When it was brought, क्या ईयर है इसका? मीसा था. अच्छा, मीसा, पर वो तो फिर एनएसए में बदल गया ना. टाडा तो अलग था, मीसा अलग था. Misa, what is referring to? This was different. That was preventive detention law, which has converted to NSA, National Security Act now. That's different. These are terror laws. There were two laws in India. One is preventive detention law. One are terror laws. These are terror laws. So, okay, fine. You check the year, but let's see the provision. That is the big concern. The accused person should be detained, can be detained up to 1 year. And which democracy allows this? For 1 year, you could be detained, and that too, the most important thing, without being produced to a judicial magistrate within 24 hours. For 1 year under TADA, you could be put behind bars without any judicial access. This is how autocracies works. This is how China works. Okay? And it's a big troubling provision. Confession made to police officer was admissible as evidence. Jabki Constitution Article 20 clearly says no self-incriminating evidences. Article 20 of the Constitution says that no citizen of India and otherwise can be compelled to give evidence against his own case. So remember, any statement you give to the police in police station is not admissible in the court of law. But this law allowed this. Now imagine, and we all know how our police behaves. So they will put you behind bar, thoda sa darayenge, and you were like, okay, I will sign it. I am the biggest terrorist you have ever found. Okay? So okay, fine. वो जो भी है बस understand provisions. So clear that you could be detained for 1 year without judicial access. That most important thing is confession made to a police officer was admissible in the court of law, and the burden of proof was on you to prove you are innocent. The police does not have to prove you are guilty. It will be assumed you are guilty if you are arrested. You have to prove that you are innocent. And this is the problem. Understand why we gave rights to the citizens. Because state is too vast. They have police. State में what you have? Police, judiciary, executive, everything is a state. मैंने आपको बताया था when we negotiated the constitution. What is constitution? A contract. A contract among all of us. That's why the first line is we the people. When we negotiated this contract, we gave all the powers to the government. Then we said, fine, you have all the powers, but I want limitation on those powers, and that is known as fundamental rights. The fundamental rights were given to us precisely because we want to limit state power. State is too powerful. It should be the burden on the state to prove you are guilty. But it is other way around. In legal term, it is known as mens rea. Mens rea means guilty intent. Clear, everyone? So this law assumes you are guilty. You have to prove you are innocent. Next, the courts were set up exclusively to hear the case. Okay, fine. मतलब exclusive court for TADA. And police officers were also empowered to attach properties of the accused. Another provision. Currently, no police officer has that power. Only courts can attach your property. Police can only ask the court, please attach the property of this person. But under this law, even police person could attach your property. That was significant. And however, it said there should be no third degree in harassment. But सबको पता है दुनिया कैसे चलती है, ठीक है? And Indira Gandhi is anyway famous for third degree. Okay, please remember this. Clear all the provision. And the biggest troubling point is not that Indira Gandhi kind of people use this law. What is the biggest problem? The so-called institution of justice. Supreme Court of India. At least इन्हें नहीं करना चाहिए था ये. The Supreme Court of India upheld this law constitutionally valid. This is the problem we have. I always told you, even judiciary is not immune from government. Government is everywhere and they have a file on anyone. Okay, when you start doing a lot of things, then they open the file. Okay, you are trying to be honest. Okay, open this file. पता लगाओ, इतिहास खोलो इसका. And you can, मैंने आपको example दिया था, search about Lavasa, election commissioner. What happened to him? There was a very good person, election commissioner. I cannot tell because I also love my liberty. So there was a Lavasa. Lavasa was election commissioner. उसको एक बार पढ़ लेना. What happened to him? ठीक है? How government behaves. सोचिए, if election commissioner can be harassed, तो कौन harass नहीं हो सकता by the government? ठीक है? Read about him. Very good example. So anyway, TADA lapsed in 1995. Fine, good thing. Then government was like, okay, fine, I will have another law. The law is POTA, Prevention of Terrorism Act. This law was enacted in 2002. It was in response to 2001 terror attack on Parliament. Cross-border terror attack by Pakistani terrorists was on Parliament of India and Jammu Kashmir legislature. In response to that, we brought POTA. So basically, it was same law, more power to police to arrest you, to detain you without any judicial accountability. This kind of provision were given. So finally, again, Supreme Court in PUCL case upheld the law. So 2 times Supreme Court belied. First, our Constitution founder lied to us. Then Constitution, the so-called protector of liberty, guardian of fundamental rights, decried its duties for 2 times. Fine. Now the current law that we have is, TADA was earlier, it was replaced by POTA. The POTA has gone. Now we have, only law that we have in India for terrorism is UAPA, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. This is the only law so far we have for terrorist activities. Now we know it, of course, it restricts your Article 19 Clause 1, freedom of speech and expression, whatever. Let's see how it deals. Under UAPA, a commission of an offence is punished for unlawful activities in Terrorist Act. What is this unlawful activity in Terrorist Act? It defines also. Unlawful activity include any action that support or intend to support the secession of any part of India and those that challenge or aim to disrupt India's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Anyone, for example, the Khalistanis who are supporting the movement of Punjab, even the northeastern people, for most importantly Nagaland. Nagaland, I told you, even today you can find walls where it is written Nagas are not Indian, Indians are not Nagas. And northeast annexation in India has always been a bigger problem for us. There have been too much insurgencies right now, except for some amount of Manipur and Nagaland. Largely there is no insurgency. Largely, I'm not saying absolutely, but largely. Next is Terrorist Act. The act defined Terrorist Act is refer to violent act intent to threaten India's security and instill terror in the people within India or abroad. So any act that aims to threaten India's security and instill terror. अब ये instill terror क्या होता है? अब मैं तो डरता अपने पिताजी से भी हूँ, तो क्या उन पे UAPA लगा दे? He also instilled terror in me. So can we apply UAPA on him? So what is this instilled terror? It should not be so vague. It should be a bit clear criteria, because you are blaming someone for a terrorist act. It cannot be instilled terror. Some criteria could be made. For example, using guns, using ammunition, using weapons. That clear criteria that should separate what is this instilled terror. कुछ भी हो सकता है ये तो. ठीक है? Please remember this. So this law is highly vague and open to executive interpretation. Government कुछ भी interpret करती है. ठीक है? Next thing, central government can declare specified organizations as unlawful associations, terrorist gangs, or terrorist organization. Once an organization is declared as unlawful under UAPA, even becoming a member of such organization is an offense. So initially this law was made 1967, I believe, Indira Gandhi's time. It was made only and only for organizations. It did not cover individuals. Then Modi ji came. Modi ji was like, "ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है मेरे रहते?" So 2019 when Modi ji amended the law. Why understand this? Because if he had brought some terrorist law, we do not have a terrorist law as of yet. Tada we had gone, Pota we had gone. So Modi ji always criticized Indira Gandhi. आज भी करते हैं. You see, his speech never ends without Congress. ठीक है? He do not talk about, he talk lots about BJP. He talks more about Congress. ठीक है? So he always remind us what Indira Gandhi did wrong. Always remind us. A good thing, I believe. The people should remember every day what Indira Gandhi did, so that they can remember somebody like Indira Gandhi also. Okay? So anyway, he reminds us of her. So if he brought a terrorist law, because terrorist law applies on individual, then he could be criticized. So he played a safe game. Rather than bringing a new law, they amended the UAPA. Remember, initially UAPA applied only and only on organizations, not on individuals. 2019 when the Modi government amended and included individuals in the definition of terrorism. Now, not only organizations can be declared terrorist, even individuals can be declared terrorists now. Okay, another power government enjoy nicely. So some amendment, these were broad, whatever drama. Let's forget that. Now let us see what is the process under this law. So I believe this law is not that vague for organizations. How an organization is declared terrorist or unlawful? Let's see. The government of India issues a notification to ban the organization. As soon as it issues the notification goes to tribunal, Unlawful Activity Prevention Tribunal. So government issues a notification, the notification goes to Unlawful Activities Prevention Tribunal within 30 days. Then the tribunal sends a show cause notice to the organization. Government bans the organization, sends the notification to tribunal. Tribunal then issues a show cause notice to the organization and the government. Government will tribunal. Tribunals are like court but not courts. Let's understand the difference. Court is a place of justice where you can go for any case. Tribunals are made by the laws of Parliament of India or the state legislature dedicated to a particular cause. For example, income tax tribunal. Income tax tribunal can hear cases only and only for income tax. Courts are vast. Courts can hear anything under the sun. Tribunals are made by the laws of Parliament or state legislature dedicated only and only for specific narrow task. So it's an Unlawful Activity Prevention Tribunal. It means only cases related to UAPA can go here. Clear this much? So government issues a ban notification. Within 30 days, it goes to Unlawful Activity Prevention Tribunal. Then it issues a show cause notice to ask the organization why you should not be banned. Then you have to represent your case. Tribunal can also conduct an inquiry if it wants. And if the tribunal is satisfied with the ban, then tribunal approves the ban and the ban become applicable for 5 years. I believe good process. It's a good process of banning an organization. At least in between you have a tribunal. But there is a problem with tribunal's composition. It is often composed by judicial officers, not judges. Understand the difference here. Judicial officers can belong to government also. Judicial officer is different. Judges are different. So all tribunals does not have judges. Tribunals can also have judicial officers. Something government has too much control over. Okay, please remember that thing. अब let's see what are the issues with UAPA. सबको clear है UAPA basic provision and the 2019 amendment. Now anyone including individual can be declared terrorist. The misuse. Between 2018 to 2020, a significant number of UAPA arrests occurred. Only 3% resulted in conviction. So 97% are in prison and in UAPA without conviction. This is the problem. I have told you it's very hard to prove a criminal offense. Criminal offenses proving is very hard. Why? Because India has a law purpose, or India has a provision. In criminal laws, a person can be convicted only and only there is proof beyond doubt. This is the difference between civil law and criminal law. If you are committing a civil crime, monetary nature or petty nature, in that the investigation officer does not have to give proofs beyond doubt. In criminal offense, you have to give proofs beyond doubt. So proving a criminal case is much harder than a civil case. Civil case can easily be proved. Please remember that. So only 3% conviction. Moreover, UAPA has been, सबको पता है, UAPA has been applied by the government broadly against the tribal communities to individuals also using social media. The recent case, all the journalists who have been arrested are the journalists who criticize the government. Every one of them, okay, who are tried under UAPA, they are the people who criticize the government. None of the people we know who find nano chip in 2000 rupee notes, these kind of people are not arrested and they will never be arrested anyway. Clear? So this cast a shadow on, are we a mother of democracy? Let's see. गवर्नमेंट क्या जस्टिफिकेशन देगा? वो गवर्नमेंट ही क्या जो जस्टिफिकेशन दे? पुलिस वाले क्या कर लेंगे? उनके पास कुछ नहीं होता. कुछ देखिए क्या होगा, कोर्ट में जाएंगे, the court will ask why you arrested, why just arrested, they will give proof, they will do dilly dally, at least they will waste 1 or 2 years of your life and after that you will be free. जाओ enjoy करो. हाँ तो ग्राउंड बताया ना. हाँ तो ऑफ कोर्स आपको प्रूव करना है. सर इन्होंने बोला you have been arrested for pro China activities. Now police have to prove that they were pro Chinese and they have to prove that we were not. That's the case. Because all cases are adversarial. मैंने आपको बताया था Indian courts works on adversarial jurisdiction. Adversarial means two party behave like enemies and they have to prove each other's arguments. Okay, please remember that. Let's see mother of democracy, how it behaves. The mother of democracy is no other civilized country. This is very good about India's democracy, that no other country, including Britain, which created Rowlatt Act for India, no country except India, democracy, so-called democracy, which created Rowlatt Act for India, have any law whatsoever for preventive detention. India is the only liberal democracy and the mother of democracy having the preventive detention law. No other country has it. On the other hand, some countries, even during World War, most of the European countries, including USA, who were directly involved in World War, they did not have any such law. So no country except India has preventive detention law. And above that, India has preventive detention law in its fundamental right chapter itself. Okay, this is a big problem for India anyway. England introduced during Second World War particularly a preventive detention law, but it was too fluid, because in this a person could be detained only to the satisfaction of Home Minister, not some police officer. यहाँ पे क्या है? The satisfaction of police officer is applied. वहाँ पे the satisfaction of Home Minister, and that too only one person. So only one time Britain had this law during World War, and that too it was too you can take too small or too narrow. You could be arrested only and only if the Home Minister himself approves the arrest. No police officer can arrest you. Plus, only one person can be arrested. जैसे we arrest wholesale ना, जैसे recently we arrested wholesale. So wholesale arrest cannot happen. Only retail arrest will happen. ठीक है? Please remember that. International view. So let's see what is the international view, the mother of democracy, how the world sees mother of democracy. The European Court of Human Rights has held that preventive detention as found in Indian constitution is illegal under European Convention on Human Rights, regardless of the safeguards. So that is the view of, not mine, the European Court of Human Rights on Indian constitution, that the preventive detention law in Indian constitution is completely illegal under European Convention on Human Rights, regardless of the safeguards. One safeguard is that you cannot be arrested beyond 3 months, but on that is applicable only if Parliament has not made a law. Parliament has made a law. 2 law we know. UAPA we discussed, that is anti-terror law, and second law is NSA, National Security Act, of similar nature both are. Apart from this, South Asian Human Rights Documentation Center, they gave a submission to a body known as National Commission to Review the Working of Constitution. आपको पता है, Lakshmikant it is also mentioned, it was appointed to review the working of Constitution in 2000, कि how the Constitution is working, what changes we have to bring. They submitted a submission to them and suggested, please delete preventive detention from your Constitution as soon as possible. So as we can see, preventive detention, देखिए, I am to strictly oppose preventive detention, चाहे कोई भी हो, Indira Gandhi हो, doesn't matter. Where any government could be in power, the problem is preventive detention puts citizens at the mercy of the government, and that is not how democracies behave. Democracy mein the government should be at the mercy of the people. It should not be the other way around. कि government का जब मन करा जैसे था उठा के ले गए. Okay, that's how Britishers used to behave, and we are no different from Britishers. That's why it is said that India did not gain independence in 1947. It was just transfer of power, because provisions are the same. The behavior of the state is the same. Nothing has changed much. Now let's see Delhi High Court. Delhi High Court ma case was filed. That case is known as Asif Iqbal Tanha versus State of Delhi. In this case, Delhi High Court gave very beautiful observation on this law. Let's see what are those observations. Pehla, the word terrorist act should be trivialized as much as possible. They said the word you are using, a terrorist act, trivialize it. Do not use this word to anything. For example, how Delhi High Court defined any activity that comes under usual law and order problem. Any activity that comes under usual law and order problem. For example, you are protesting, okay? Not rioting. Even riots are law and order problem. They are not a terrorist act. For example, somebody is protesting. UPSC students were recently protesting for additional attempt. Police आई उठा के ले गए सबको. They were like, पहले before becoming IPS, let's understand jail system first. So that happened. Anyway, so Delhi High Court said any problem that is of usual law and order that can be dealt under IPC shall not be dealt under UAPA. Means if you have a law under IPC to deal with that issue, you should not use UAPA. It means UAPA is a second stage defense. First stage mein you will apply IPC, because IPC is very weak. Indian Penal Code. These laws deals with various kind of events. For example, assault, if you start fighting, all these crimes are normal crimes and they are dealt in IPC. Understand, UAPA is an extreme law. UAPA declares you as a terrorist, not as a criminal. A criminal is considered as a equal citizen. Terrorist is not. So according to Delhi High Court, the first stage mein you will apply IPC. Then second stage mein you will move to UAPA if and only if required. And in this, they depended upon Supreme Court's decision. Supreme Court in Hitendra Vishnu Thakur case, itself said every terrorist may be a criminal, but every criminal cannot be labeled a terrorist. And this is the problem. A question comes is, if this UAPA is so bad, and believe me, this is bringing very bad reputation to India. And I told you this earlier also, except for common janta, India does not have very good image in academic circles. आप दुनिया का कोई भी न्यूज़पेपर उठा लेना, except for Indian newspapers, उनकी तो quality बची नहीं है. You can pick any newspaper of the world, India is not shown in a very good light. Academic circles में it's very bad. And why? Because I told you, intellectuals are different. Intellectuals have vast knowledge of history, geography, polity. They know past well and they can predict future well. The way a doctor predict. A doctor of body, what that person has? That person has vast knowledge of medicine. Based on that, that person sees your body's symptom and predict these could be the disease. Then you have testing and all drama takes place. Same is the intellectual, and that's why all dictators fear two people. मैंने आपको हमेशा बताया, scholars, intellectuals, and students. Because students are idealists. They think they will change the world when they are in schools and colleges. Real life is different. सबको समझ में आया? Please remember this. Now let us see the recommendation on these laws. South Asian Human Rights Documentation Center. This center submitted a submission to our commission, that is NCRWC, National Commission to Review the Working of Constitution. So what it says, पहला thing it says, these recommendations are sufficient. इससे ज़्यादा मत करना. I'm telling you again, it's more than sufficient content. They say the preventive detention under Article 22 and Entry 3 of the concurrent list. Pehla suggestion is the preventive detention mentioned under Article 22 and the Entry 3 of the concurrent list must be deleted because you already have Entry 9. Entry 9 of the union list says that union government or union parliament can enact on preventive detention only for 3 reasons: defense, foreign affairs, and security of the state. So they say remove the power of state governments to enact on preventive detention, and plus remove preventive detention from your fundamental right chapter. You can make laws, but make laws on emergency basis, and that too with a sunset clause. If you're making a terrorist law, it must die within few years. Do not have a always applicable law. Because the 3 law, if you have to find any law that can be blamed for India's democracy's decline, there are 3 laws: Armed Force Special Power Act, AFSPA. Second, UAPA. Third, NSA. These 3 laws are highly PMLA money laundering se, so I don't think that's a bad law. These are very severely bad law. Anyway, these 3 laws are the real reason India's democracy is declining. And Kamal ki baat, these laws were made by the person Modi ji criticizes a lot and uses a lot. Okay, you criticize a person, then uses their provisions. Okay, that's hypocrisy. Anyway, if preventive detention to be removed, पहला तो वो कहता है remove preventive detention and keep Entry 9 that allows union government to make laws for 3 issues: defense, foreign affairs, and security of India. Even if you want to keep preventive detention, it says include well-defined criteria. Do not use vague term, instill terror. ऐसा नहीं. Use well-defined criteria so that it is known to everyone what is terrorism and what is not. So everyone will know. Abhi kya, nobody know what is terrorism. Government can interpret anything as terrorism. So make well-defined criteria. These are very big laws and do not make them vague. Second point, there should always be a meaningful judicial review. आप कर सकते हैं, बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं. If you're arresting anyone, you can have a secret hearing of judges. Public hearing मत कराइए. You can have a secret hearing in which a person is in detention. The judge can go to the jail. The judge can go to the jail and see the conditions. जरूर थोड़ा ना हर बार जेल को ही आप लेके जाओगे. You do not have to take a detainee to the judge. You can take a judge to the jail, and that judge can review the cases. So they say 2 things. First, either remove. If you're unable to remove, then at least give a well-defined criteria with a meaningful judicial review, a precondition for human rights. Next, third, Government of India, Indira Gandhi passed a law. We know 44, sorry, after Indira Gandhi, you passed the law, the Janata Party government, 44th amendment to Constitution. This amendment reduced the 3 months period to 2 months. But this has not been notified till today. सोचिए कब पास हुआ था ये? Because making Rahul Gandhi to apologize is more important than 2 months. So 3 months limit was reduced to 2 months. It has not been notified. It is a law. All you have to do is notify this in Gazette of India and it will become implementable. This amendment we should implement as soon as possible. Last thing, they say the advisory board review. I told you, after 3 months, advisory board shall review. The advisory board review has executive review. I told you most of the officers of this so-called board are executive, like DM and all. They should be. कहाँ गया? there should be judicial review. First, do not have this law. If you're having this law, then clearly define the criteria of what you will call preventive detention or terrorism, and with meaningful judicial review. After that, in review committee, judges should be there, not your executive officers who are directly under your control. It should not happen. As soon as the detainee is arrested, they must be informed of the ground of arrest. It violates this provision. They say there should be a minimum period. Right now, there is not a minimum period to inform your ground of arrest under UPN NSA. UPN NSA में अगर आप arrest करे जाते हो, तो it encourages to inform you within 48 hours. But if a police person feel it will not be right, so they can arrest you without telling you why you are being arrested. ठीक है? तो this should not be there. They say put a minimum time, maybe 1 month if you like, but keep it. But that too must be approved by a judge. Keep judiciary in between. Simple logic is keep judiciary in between. Last point. United Nations Human Rights Committee has stated that any person arrested must have immediate access to counsel. However, Supreme Court of India in A.K. Roy versus Union of India case that detainees do not have the right to legal representation or cross-examination in advisory board. It must be repealed. So, ऐसा नहीं है Supreme Court of India has protected our liberty every time. Sometimes Supreme Court has denied its constitutional responsibility to limit the government. I told you who has the responsibility to protect fundamental rights. Supreme Court, a prime responsibility. A lot of times Supreme Court denied that. Anyway, clear? So we have discussed all terror laws, we have discussed reviews, we have discussed recommendations. Judicial review is the power of judiciary to review the laws made by legislature or action of the government to see whether they fit the constitution or not. And if they do not fit, judiciary can declare them unconstitutional. That is called judicial review. Let's come to the next pyara news. Bihar Caste Census. Pehla question, it's a very small news. The first question is why caste census? What do you think? Pehla aap log bataiye, then I will tell. Do you think we should have a caste census in India? तुम सारे जेल जाने वाले, तुम सब बिगड़ गए हो. Understand this? Yes, it's a needed one. Of course, we understand the politics in India. BJP is a right-wing party which plays the politics of religion. Other parties, Congress and particularly BSP, SP, they are center and left parties. They place the politics of caste. The thing is, why BJP does not want a caste census? Because if caste census happens, then Hindus will be divided into caste. And in that, they will not vote BJP. Okay? This is the biggest problem for BJP. Other parties knows if there will be a caste census, then they will be divided into caste, then they will not vote BJP. So it's indeed is the part of politics. So the politics ko keep aside. Now look at the real picture. We have reservation in India, SC, ST, OBC. So, second point, do you think reservation should continue, or do you think it has empowered really the people? It has not empowered. So first look at that. Bihar census se pehle, let us look at representation of the reserved categories. I know there are a lot of people, particularly from general category, who pained by this. Okay? But fine, for example, I was from general, I could not qualify, 20 marks I left. But if I would be even OBC, I would have qualified civil service multiple times. Okay? I had more cutoff than that. But I do not resist that, and I do not have a grudge over it. Because we also enjoyed a luxury period of our time for centuries. Okay, fine. So that's a different thing. There is nothing to have a grudge over it. हाँ, लॉजिक यही था. जनरल देखिए, जनरल के साथ प्रॉब्लम क्या है? You may think, I know, because you are preparing, you have to prepare for government exam. The real problem is not reservation. The real problem is declining government jobs. If there is abundant government job, then even reservation will not hurt you because you will get something. किसका? हाँ, vis-a-vis population is higher. अभी discuss करेंगे उसे हम. But लेकिन का कम तो रहता है, पर लोगों को तकलीफ होती है ना कट ऑफ से. ठीक है, है रिजर्वेशन में देखिए मेन प्रॉब्लम क्या है जनरल कैटेगरी को यार आई हैव टू गेट 100 कट ऑफ दैट पर्सन इज हैविंग व्हाटएवर 80 81 व्हाटएवर so fine that's a genuine cause of concern but let's see the real picture always remember we will discuss that also in a written reply by Department of Personnel and Training. This is a department of Government of India which ultimately appoints you. UPSC only recommends you. DOPT appoints you. ठीक है DOPT comes directly under the control of Prime Minister of India. DOPT in their reply to Rajya Sabha, it means it is an authentic reply. No hear-fair here there. Out of all the 322 officers holding the post of joint secretaries and secretaries, they are the highest level decision-making positions. Only 16, 13 and 39 belong to SC, ST, OBC, a population that has 50% reservation. So even if they have 50% reservation, only 16, 13 and 39, जो भी इसमें कर लेना, remaining of them are upper caste. Why is it so? And I told you earlier also, UPSC provides only one thing, equality of opportunity. It does not provide anything beyond that. UPSC provides you equality of opportunity. You will be recruited as per your hard work and also your social circumstances. That is what Ambedkar said that we will discuss here. Why this issue we have. Same आप किसी भी department में जाएंगे you will find this. ठीक है जैसे these are for group A positions. There is a problem because group A में there is no reservation in promotion. Group A में there is no reservation in promotion. The reservation promotion under the constitution is available only and only to SCs and STs. Under constitution you have reservation at two places. Reservation at entry in which you have OBC, SC, ST, now EWS also. But when you get into jobs, the only people who get reservation during promotion, that is SCs and STs. Remaining of other people, OBC, EWS, no one enjoy any reservation. Okay, that is one of the reason given by government. Because there is no reservation promotion in A class, even SC, ST reservation is not available in Group A jobs. Clear हुआ सबको? Under Constitution, SC, ST have reservation in promotion, but that reservation is available only in D, C, and B class position. In Group A position, there is no reservation in promotion in union government. State governments may have it. That depends upon state to state. But union mein there is no reservation promotion Group A jobs. First thing. Second thing, we know anyway OBC has no reservation in promotion at all in all positions. Clear this much? So this is one of the reasons. Chalo fine, मान लेते हैं government is biased. Let's see what is the situation of academics. Professors, which is the highest level job at the level of, you can say this, universities. The highest position in university is professor. Below this associate, after below this assistant. So professors में out of 230, out of 306 vacancies for SC, 234 are vacant. Out of 140 vacancy for ST, 107 are vacant. Out of 389 vacancy for OBC, 352 are vacant. Lastly, everything is vacant. Simply stating, in spite of having reservation, they do not have jobs. Particularly SC, ST, OBC I'm talking about. Another things, let's see. A very good university, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Okay, this university has only one professor from SC and 0. So government में all government position are basically held by upper caste person, and remember male also. ऐसा नहीं कि women also get. You always hear ना every year these women are top 5. They will be maybe one of or two of them will reach to the top. Exclusively none of them will reach to the top. The problem is we will understand in a bit. So academics में representation is also very bad. Government में very bad. Now let us see the so-called IIM से भी बुरा हाल है. देखिए 60% of SC, ST, OBC, SC and OBC reservation are vacant in IIMs. And कहाँ गया हमारा हमारे प्यारे IITs, ठीक है, pre IITs. These IITs have more than, देखिए they have only 6 teachers from ST community. None of the 22 IITs have more than 6. But 22 IITs put together have more than only 6 teachers belonging to ST community. 18 IITs have 10 or less than 10 from SC, and 7 IITs have 10 and less than 10 from OBC. Put together, not more than 10% of the entire IITs is SC, ST, OBC put together. A community that enjoys 50% reservation. Please keep that in mind. Last, a study was conducted by Oxfam India News Laundry. We have seen government, we have seen academics. Now comes media. What is the problem with media? Let's understand. 3 out of 4 anchors are upper caste, and 70% of the primetime debate shows have an upper caste anchor and panelist. This is the problem. Understand something. When a previous, I think you have been in some classes, we have discussed something called opaque state. Agar aapko yaad ho to. Opaque state concept, I told you that how you see the state depends upon the filter between you and the state. This filter is media. Media filters the information that comes from the state to you. Depending on that, even an unjust state can appear just. That's how UK, a country which is highly capitalized, in which Marx predicted a revolution will happen. UK never witnessed a revolution. USSR, which is a semi-feudal state, and China, which was primarily agriculture, witnessed a communist revolution, a revolution which must take place in advanced capitalist society only. And the reason was advanced capitalist societies are opaque state because their media controls narrative. And this is the biggest problem. Why SC, OBC do not have good representation and still people believe that they are benefiting from reservation? Because media is upper caste. अब कोई भी institution उठा लो, I've given 3 examples. Pick Supreme Court of India, for example. You can pick any institution in India whatsoever. You will always find the top ranking position will always be held exclusively by upper caste males only. Now comes why this is the problem. One is the reason because media controls information. Academics creates theories. Why I included media and academics? Media control information that reach to you, and academics creates theories. The theory that explains the world. The reality is a social construct that depends upon the theories. And who make theories? Academician make theories. And both places, academician and media, there is virtually 0 or maybe 10% representation of lower caste. And that's why their narrative never gets the hold of the life. Upper caste narrative always get the hold. Ki reservation should go because we are having a problem. सबको समझ में आ रहा है? So it means reservation is not working very well. Clear everyone? Chaliye, fine. Now let us see the rationale. Baba Sahib Ambedkar in his book Annihilation of Caste, he argued that a man's power or success depends on 3 parameters: physical inheritance, social inheritance, and finally own efforts. The so-called argument of merit. I know merit we always talk about, but merit is in what caste you are born, in what religion you are born, in what country you are born, in what family you are born. If you are, for example, you're born into upper, for example, this Jio's MD. Kisko pata who is the Jio MD? Mr. Akash Ambani. What qualification he has to head Jio? Except one, his father is Ambani. So maybe you people, maybe any of you are more qualified to become the MD of Jio. You can manage Jio better than that person. But only because he has a father who is the money, he can become the MD of Jio. For example, Jai Shah. What qualification he has to become BCCI chief? He has the biggest qualification. His father is home minister. And there are a lot of people. Jyotirao Scindia, these are all dynasts. Jyotirao Scindia belongs to a particular family. This Rajasthan में you have royal families. ऐसी जो भी नाम है इनका, वो शायद उनका रिलेशन भी है कुछ, वो पता नहीं उसकी जो भी है चाची वाची को लगती है. So the thing is, the problem here is the argument of merit na, it's a lie. Most of the time it's a lie. Hard work is real. I'm not denying hard work. Hard work is indeed real because Rahul Gandhi is also there, born with a silver spoon. he is unable to root out Mr. Modi ji, or pata nahi, maybe Ambani is in power, I don't know. So he is unable to root them out also. So ऐसा नहीं है कि hard work is of course necessary, but only hard work does not determine your pinnacle success. It also will be determined by social inheritance, physical inheritance, and a lot of environmental factors. मान लेते you had prepared excellent for this exam, you were going for prelims paper और आपका एक्सीडेंट हो गया, मरे नहीं आप, only accident. So इसमें आपकी क्या गलती थी? You prepared for 4 years, 5 years, you had a last attempt to give and you were all prepared. अब तो गया पेपर और आप ही गए. So this is the problem. There are a lot of factors that play. Success is a complex outcome of various factors put together. It is not only about hard work, it's also about a lot of factors. Clear, everyone? So please remember this merit argument. And that is why Caste-Census has emphasized that caste is alpha and omega of Indian society. According to Caste-Census, caste is alpha and omega of Indian society. Now, a theory was published that I have included. This was in some research paper, I don't know. The tyranny of merit. Because we live in a society, so-called urban societies, they say merit is everything. And this is a problem, I also believe. If you've seen this Vikas Gupta, that kya naam hai, Dishti wala, that person has a very good video. I like that video. In Instagram pe thi, I believe. He said, be happy with your kid. If he is talented or she is talented, that person will surely leave you. Because that person will get high success, will go to foreign to study. He will not be present with you most of the time. Even if your kid is average or below average, be happy. That kid will live with you forever. So do not pressurize your kid to be successful. Pressurize them to be hardworking. Success may or may not come, but at least respect. Parents क्या करते हैं? देखो शर्मा जी का लड़का कहाँ पहुंचा. Look at where Sharma ji's ladka is and where you are. This is a problem. You're unnecessarily pressurizing. Positive किसने मना किया? Encourage for hard work, not success. That was he said. His main point was encourage for hard work. Do not encourage for success. In India, we judge a person by success, not hard work. If you're qualified in UPSC, fine, you are the best person. चाहे पूरे दिन दारू पीते होगे आप, गांजा मार रहे हो बैठ के, nobody cares. You are the best person, and then you go to podium. And I used to work 14 hours a day. Those 14 hours include one pack and also one ganja. But if you are not successful, even if you are studying for 14 hours, nobody cares. They are like, I bhane maar raha hai. बिल्कुल निकलता है, बिकॉज गांजा और ड्रग करने में कितना टाइम लगता है. संडे का ब्रेक ले लिया, एक आध पैक मार लिया, क्या हो गया. ठीक है, चलिए, एनीवे निकल जाता है. सिंसियरिटी इज समथिंग. फॉर एग्जांपल, यू आर स्टडिंग 14 आवर्स एंड वेस्टिंग योर टाइम. पढ़ा फिर बंद कर दिया, पढ़ा बंद कर दिया. अ पर्सन हु स्टडी 6 आवर्स, देन सम करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज, दोस्तों से भी मिलता है, बातें भी करता है, एंड दैट पर्सन आल्सो सक्सेस varies from person to person depending upon your background, your knowledge. मान लेते हैं you have already started preparation in bachelor's, so for 3 years you prepared for UPSC, then you come for UPSC, within first attempt you qualify. Everyone sees, oh, first attempt. They do not see 4 years of hard work. I can personally guarantee nobody qualifies UPSC in maiden attempt. Everyone may qualify in first attempt, but that first attempt includes at least 4 to 5 years of preparation beforehand. आप किसी से भी देख लेना. Anyone who qualified at first attempt, now ask them for how many years you prepared. They will reply, I started preparation in, for example, bachelor's. It is my first attempt, but this first attempt was followed by at least 3 to 4 years of preparation, because UPSC is big, not hard. UPSC hard exam नहीं है. UPSC बहुत बड़ा exam है. It has such a big syllabus to cover. ठीक है? Please remember this environmental factor. Now let us discuss quickly the tyranny of merit. A political theorist, Michel J. Sandel, this person basically talked about this tyranny. Why merit is always talked about? Why you do not talk about other things? The reason is because we live in liberal democracies, and liberal democracy mein they are promoting this narrative that outcome of merit, the so-called successful, the outcome of merit, if you are meritorious, you will qualify. They are propagating this idea. Be hard work, be meritorious, you will qualify any exam. ठीक है, जैसे आजकल you have ना Instagram and all पे influencer, you can do it. you are in bad, you can do it, जाग जाओ, बीमारी कुछ नहीं होती, you're not ill, you are just thinking you are ill. भाई I am ill, ठीक है, I am taking medicines, I am not thinking I am ill, I am literally ill, ठीक है. But anyway, this so called, this is the problem, that the promotion of success based on merit, that is what he argues. What is the biggest problem? When you have a society that respect success, and that too they believe every success is an outcome of merit. They do not believe that success can also be a social lottery. For example, yeah, Akash Ambani or whatever he has, particularly Radhika Merchant, he got married. It pains me a lot, but anyway, fine. So he got Radhika Merchant for only one reason. He's Ambani's son or what? Anyway, so सबको समझ में आया? A society that believes that merit is the only reason for success, so they treat every success is merit. When you believe merit is success, then you believe all success are merit, and then it leads to a bigger problem. The bigger problem is the successful people believe that they deserve their success. When you believe that merit means success, so it also becomes success means merit. So the people who are successful believe that I am a meritorious person, I am above everyone, मेरे से ऊपर कोई नहीं है. And this is what leads to tyranny of merit. And what is the problem? The problem is condescending attitude. You will find a lot of people, I don't know why these people behave like this. Gandhi is a prime example for such arrogant people. Gandhi, a person who led an entire country, he used to clean his own house. There were two reasons for that. Number one, he wanted to show to the world that cleaning my house is as important as leading the nation. Second thing, he wanted to show that cleaning the house is not only the function of lower caste. Even an upper caste person must do it. There were two reasons for cleaning the house. A person, why Gandhi is so revered? Because he is a person who was such a tall leader, but was never touched by tyranny of merit or power. He was a powerful person, but he never allowed power to dictate him. That's the biggest comparison. There was a Harvard professor, I saw his video. He was making a comparison between Hitler and Gandhi. He made a very beautiful comparison. He said both were mass leaders. Both were highly popular in their time. But the difference was Hitler allowed power to corrupt him. Gandhi never did. Why Gandhi used to go into that half naked? Okay, why? The reason is he wanted to show to the world, you will not tell me what I can do. Because Britishers were promoting that by having that coat pant is the style. और हमारे सारे leader वही पहनते थे. Gandhi was like, नहीं, I will wear khadi and that too the amount I need. I will not fall for modernity. The modernity that promote consumerism. I think some classes I must have told you. Modernity promote consumerism. You start becoming a consumer. You want the best of the best things. Gandhi said, no, nobody will dictate me what I can do. So this is the problem when you believe merit is success. So you start to believe success is merit. And then you, if you get successful, you have a condescending attitude toward the people who are not. So like you are making excuses. कैसे नहीं होते? You must have worked hard. You must clear UPSC. ऐसा नहीं होता है भाई. Sometimes I know a lot of people who have worked, you cannot imagine the level hard, who have taken so many risks, who have left job, for example, at the age of 30. I had some students who are older than me. I'm 30, they were 32. Take a last attempt. Those people have taken risk. They're working very hard, but there's no guarantee they will clear. Guarantee nahi hai. But nonetheless, they are working hard. So this is the problem. Do not compare merit with success. Hard work, everyone does. Some of the hard work becomes success. Some of the hard work do not become success. Okay, clear to everyone? That's why he say a society that worships success, it creates a problem of condescending attitude towards the people who are not, and this leads to resentment, and this resentment has given birth to soft dictators. I told you what are soft dictators. People like Donald Trump. India mein we will not name anyone. Okay? Viktor Orban, Duterte. These are soft dictators. They are rising in power. They are coming to the elections and they are saying, I am from working class. Yeah, Donald Trump is a billionaire. कहाँ से working class? But सोचिए, people are so angry with this so-called successful people and their condescending attitude toward the poor that they are believing even a billionaire that he's a working class person. This is the problem. सबको समझ आ रहा है what is the problem? And we are witnessing this problem in real life scenario. These dictators are coming in power around the world. Donald Trump, Viktor Orban, Bolsonaro in Brazil, India छोड़ो, and then other places. These dictators are coming in power. They are making the common people believe that I am from you, but they only favor the rich. They only work for the rich people. But they make you believe that they are from you. And why you are believing them? होता है ना, when you are very broken, even a person who is looking to take your advantage, not to help you, but just to take your advantage, you even believe in that person. When you're too much broken, you can believe in a person who is there only to take your advantage, not to help you. This is the problem society is witnessing. And the reason is, सबको clear है? Tyranny of merit. Please remember this theory. You can write this theory. I believe in GS paper 1 also. Society. ठीक है. GS paper 2, polity, governance. GS paper 3 also, internal security में why people riots and protests are increasing around the country. The reason is people are hurt. If they are not successful, do not tell them you are an idiot. They worked hard. They could not get the success. That is what Divya Kriti video was about. Do not worship success. Worship hard work. Clear everyone? चलिए anyway. बाकी अब पढ़ लेना. अब now out of all this debate, now come to Bihar census. This background is clear to everyone. So Bihar census highlights that Bihar population has reached around 13 crore. It may also surpass India's population once upon a day because they have a too much total fertility rate. Bihar ko has to reign on total fertility. It is beyond 3. Total fertility rate means the average number of kids that a woman in her productive life is likely to born. And it is more than 3 for Bihar. It's too much. 2 तक होना चाहिए और the preferred ratio is 2.1. जबकि all India level पे we have, this is all India level. All India level पे we have TFR, total fertility rate, less than required. So now India is getting older. This is the problem India is facing. India has only 30 to 40 years left to make advantage of its youth. उसे हम बोलते हैं demographic dividend. The India's majority young, आपको पता होगा, the median age in India is 29. मतलब 50% of India is younger than 29 or 29. So we have only 30 to 40 years left to take advantage of this extra energetic youth. If we are unable to take advantage, then these people will get old and then they will become liability. Something Japan is witnessing right now. This is, but at least China is also getting older. But at least Japan does not have a problem that we have, unemployment. Understand this. Japan has older problem, but Japan does not have a problem we will have. This demographic dividend will become demographic eco, we call it. सबको समझ में आया? Demographic dividend, the young youth population that you can take advantage by giving them better job, better opportunities, which you are not giving them. You're giving them government exam year after year without results. This is the problem. Clear everyone? And these people will get older. And if they do not get good jobs, good social security, then these people will become liability of the state itself. अभी तो आप पे young लोग हैं, they can take care of themselves, but old people has to depend on something, and you are not providing them good quality jobs, then whom they will depend on? Sarkari schools, Sarkari hospitals, and then state will be under burden. Please remember this, we have to convert this. So anyway, TFR is 2.07. It's not a good news, it's a bad news at all India level, but some state have to reduce, particularly Bihar. It's above 3. Clear? Please remember this. So the population is around 13 crore. Out of this, 82% लगभग is 82 बोलना गलत रहेगा. 82% लगभग is Hindus and around 17.72 is Muslim. So there is a very minute minority. Except Muslim, everyone is very minor. अब देख लीजिए कितना हो गया 18, 82. तो बचा ही नहीं minority के लिए कुछ. So there are very few there. So the majority of the population of Bihar is Hindus and Muslims only. Let's see. Out of this, OBC and extremely backward caste. Bihar has a tradition of calling backward, ultra backward, backward pro max. पता नहीं क्या क्या बोलते हैं वो लोग. So 63% of Bihar population is 2 OBCs and EBCs, 63%, out of which EBCs are around 36 and OBCs around 27. Do not remember absolute figure, just remember general idea. Nobody will ask you absolute figure. Remember general idea if you have to make an argument in UPSC, in interview or mains. You can remember that. Scheduled caste is around 20% roughly, ST is around 2% roughly. So this is the composition of Bihar. And unreserved is around 15.5, 16% you can say. So this is the composition of Bihar. So what are the likely consequences? The restructuring of reservation. That could be the biggest consequence out of this, the restructuring of reservation. But again, I believe reservation is not the right mechanism. Make sure that reservation also reaches to the people. ये नहीं हो रहा है. Reservation will go away only when it reaches to the people, particularly in SC and ST. SC and ST में some caste who have used the reservation are using reservation again and again and again and again. Very good example is that Tina Dabi person. Her mother, father both were IAS officer. Her grandfather was also in ISRO or whatever. So she come from a highly privileged family. She used a seat of SC. So she did anything wrong with the general people because she did not eat up a seat from general. She ate a seat from SC, a seat that could have gone to a person who really deserves it. This is the problem we have to take care. Reservation, particularly for SC, ST, must have a creamy layer criteria, so that a person who can use reservation once should not be allowed to use reservation again, so that the remaining population can use reservation. ऐसे तो reservation कभी खत्म ही नहीं होगा. इकोनॉमिकल में हम एडिशनल पैरामीटर ले सकते हैं पर एब्सोल्यूट नहीं ले सकते, बिकॉज आप अंडरस्टैंड द फिलॉसफी ऑफ रिजर्वेशन इन इंडिया. रिजर्वेशन वाज इनिशिएटेड ओनली फॉर द पीपल हु वर डिप्राइव्ड हिस्टोरिकली. इट हैज नथिंग टू डू विद, क्या हो गया, सरकार को पता लग गया हमारे बारे में. कैसे आता है ये रिजर्वेशन की फिलॉसफी? इज it was given to the people who were historically deprived of reservation. It has nothing to do with economic criteria, though I agree we can make a criteria, but caste must remain a criteria. So does women. We have given 33% reservation to them. The only criteria is gender. Understand this, a factor that disempowers you is the only factor that can empower you. If you have been deprived in the name of gender, then of course gender-based reservation will be there, na? If you have been deprived in the name of caste, then only caste-based reservation will be there. First, remove this deprivation of gender and caste, then talk about equality. सीधी सी बात है. The so-called, and I always say, if you have never faced discrimination, so you are either male or upper caste. Because if you are lower caste, somebody will remind you you are from lower caste, even for a joke. And if you are a woman, then somebody will remind you that you have limitations. It will always happen. Only the upper caste male are the people who never face this problem. Nobody tell them you cannot do this, and nobody remind them that you belong from a particular caste. So remove casteism and sexism, then talk about equality. Clear? Chaliye. So anyway, this was necessary because we need to know which caste has how much population. Along with this, we need to know one more thing: how empowered they are. इससे हम क्या कर सकते हैं? If I know that OBCs में these castes have achieved good status, we can remove them so that the remaining caste can be given reservation. But it requires political will. यही मैं कह रहा हूँ. But ये JDU whatever party is this, what they have done is half-baked cake. Having this is necessary, but it must have one step ahead. Find out of these people, whatever representation, how many of them are empowered. For example, this 20% of SCs, look at which caste of these SCs have achieved good status. Remove them from reservation so that the remaining can use reservation. इससे क्या होगा? By after some generations, there will be no caste which is above, which is deprived. सबको समझ में आ रहा है what we have to do? This step nobody will implement. बिल्कुल होता है. जैसे मैंने टीना डाबी का केस बताया, What happen is some caste, अगर reservation मैंने करवाया, I think previous current affairs में we have done this. Yes, ऐसे हो जाएंगे because a particular caste, for example, I think SCs में Meenas are the most powerful. Majority of the reservation is appropriated by the Meenas. The problem is there is a particular caste who are taking advantage of reservation generation after generation. So I'm not saying everyone in the caste, maybe, so for example, 80%. 80% of the people of that caste have used reservation already. But the remaining caste, they have used so much of reservation that the remaining caste are unable to use it. Tina Abhi case is primarily an example of it. So clear everyone, it's a good first step. We also need a second step. Find the people among these categories who have already uplifted around, say, for example, 70% of the people. If 70% of the people of that category, within these categories, have already used reservation or already having this minimum standard of living, that caste must be excluded. Otherwise, it will never create a space for the remaining caste to take advantage. And this is something I don't believe Bihar will do. Because I told you, the real purpose of this caste census is politics. However, academically necessary है, मैं deny नहीं कर रहा हूँ. It is necessary academically, but this is only first step. Clear everyone, way forward? You need extra step for this. चलिए जल्दी से, let's move to next news. Next is MS Swaminathan, a very good person. Let's look at him. Dr. MS Swaminathan has recently passed away. He was very pivotal in Green Revolution of India, and he was very critical for India's agriculture food security. He has headed National Commission for Farmer, and he has been pioneer for India's. I believe this is the person who deserves Bharat Ratan, nonetheless, but he has not it. कोई बात नहीं. He was born in 1925. Tamil Nadu. He cleared British Civil Services exam, but he did not. He left the job and he went to कौन सी ये Coimbatore में. He went to agricultural college because he, after the Quit India movement and the Bengal famine of 1942-43, which was created by Britishers artificially, after this he redirected his focus from civil services. He left the civil services and joined agricultural college in Coimbatore, and he dedicated his entire life for agriculture system in India, and he has literally contributed a lot. So he has recently passed away. So maybe UPSC can ask a question, because they ask a question nowadays on one person of significance, particularly scientists and all. Science and tech, they ask this question often. So let's see what diverse role he witnessed. He has been the chairman of Food and Agriculture Organization Council. It is an organization at the level of United Nations. He has been the president of IUCN, which published that red list of endangered species or something. He has been the president of that. He has been even president of Worldwide Fund for Nature. So he has literally hold very, very important position. So it's a person of significance. Let's see what he did. Civil service छोड़ दी थी उसने. National Commission for Farmer, MS Swaminathan report. It's a very, very important report. I have put some recommendations here. They all are important. You can just keep them and rot learn them. Okay? Let's see what are they. First, there should be substantial increase in public investment in agriculture. He said, do not leave things to the private. Substantially develop, particularly develop irrigation, drainage, land development, water conservation, research and development, and road connectivity. These all things will lead to better marketing. Irrigation along with drainage will lead to better management of water. Roads will lead to better marketing, and water conservation आपको समझ में आ ही रहा है, because there is a problem with green revolution. It has deteriorated water quality in India. Second point, he emphasized on MSP by a formula. This was the point of main criticism during farm laws. Farm laws में the farmers were demanding implement MS Swaminathan reports. The report was that MSP should be given on this formula. The formula is C2 plus 50. C2 means comprehensive cost. Comprehensive cost of all inputs, fertilizers, seeds, water, electricity, जो भी आप लगाते हैं, comprehensive cost plus 50% extra. So let's C2 में it includes all the cost, including fertilizer, electricity, जो भी आप लगा रहे हैं for producing crop, including family labor, rent of the land, as well as some interest paid on any capital. So C2 is the most comprehensive definition. It includes everything, including your family labor, rent on the land, or any interest you are paying on some money you took. Everything is there, plus 50% extra. मान लेते हैं turns out to be 10 rupees, so it suggests the MSP shall be minimum 15 rupees. Clear everyone? C2 plus 50, Government of India has implemented this recently. So now MSP is decided on. Please remember this formula as it is. ठीक है? C2 plus 50 कर दिया ना बाद में, जब फार्म लॉस हुए तो उसके बाद कर दिया था. पहले उन्होंने C2 करा, फार्मर्स ने बोला ऐसे कैसे. बट प्रॉब्लम है, एमएसपी में प्रॉब्लम है. मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द फार्मर्स आर अनेबल टू अवेल. पर्टिकुलरली बिहार में तो है ही नहीं. बिहार डज नॉट हैव एग्रीकल्चर मार्केट, तो झंझट ही खत्म. ठीक है, लिव इन पॉवर्टी फॉर एवर. है हरियाणा के कारण क्यों नहीं है? बिहार गवर्नमेंट अबॉलिश्ड एग्रीकल्चर मंडीज. हरियाणा एंड Punjab has the best agriculture marketing system, best one. That's why the Punjab and Haryana farmers are the most richest. देखा नहीं है वो ऑडी से तो वो करते हैं फार्मिंग. ठीक है, so ultra rich people they are. Anyway, to address the problem related to cartelization, it suggested one nation, one market. Means a farmer from any place should be allowed to sell produce to any place. It's a good mechanism, I believe. This is also allowed. Supreme Court has allowed this. Supreme Court orders allowed this. You cannot prevent a farmer from going anywhere because Constitution of India guarantees. Constitution of India guarantees right to trade and commerce. It's a guarantee in the Constitution of India. Government of India or any government of state cannot restrain trade and commerce throughout India. It's a guarantee. So Supreme Court interpreted that no law, because state ne kya kara? State made agricultural laws and they forced the farmers to sell the produce in that state. Supreme Court removed it. Supreme Court said farmer is like a businessman and you cannot prevent that farmers from selling anywhere. So right now, any farmer can sell their produce anywhere. And this is a woe for what happens in Bihar is small farmers produce because there is no agricultural mandi there, Sarkari. So what they do, they produce. A big farmer take produce from a small farmer at Annapurna Dam, you know, the menial prices, and then go to Haryana and Punjab and sell for higher prices. So that middleman, that bigger farmer has done nothing except taking advantage of small farmers of Bihar and then taking advantage of government MSP, because Punjab and Haryana mein you get MSP. Punjab and Haryana के अलावा you do not get MSP anywhere largely. ठीक है? क्योंकि सरकारी मंडी नहीं है ना. MSP मिलता है सरकारी मंडियों में, वो है ही नहीं. वो बिहार सरकार से पूछो. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ बिहार ने हटा दिया था. हाँ नहीं, MSP सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट देती है, स्टेट कहाँ देती है? तो फिर वो तो एक ही डिसाइड होगा ना पूरे इंडिया के लिए. हाँ, स्टेट उसमें अपना अपना एक्स्ट्रा करा देती है. जैसे मान लेते हैं सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट डिसाइडेड 100 rupees for per kg of potato. Some state government who has a lot of money like Punjab and Haryana, they add extra. They are like 50 rupees from my side. ठीक है? That's why it varies. This is same for every crop throughout India declared by central government. State provide added to it depending upon their capacity or political season. ठीक है? हाँ. सॉरी, क्या होता है? क्या होता है बिहार में? ब्लॉक. हाँ हाँ, सरकारी किससे अनाज दिया जाता है? लिया जाता है. ओके फाइन, हो सकता है, बट मेजॉरिटी जितना रिपोर्ट मैंने पढ़ा था that highlight that majority of the Bihar farmers are poor and under deprived. The main reason is there is no APMCs there. It is, I think 2008 में abolish की थी, मुझे एग्जैक्ट याद नहीं है यार. बट कोई नहीं, when you will do agriculture उसमें हम डिटेल में करेंगे. This is a big problem and farm laws and we say is the same. MSP वैसे भी ज्यादा लोगों को मिल नहीं पाता. ठीक है, चलिए, we will do that. So recommendation के लिए first recommendation increase public expenditure on service agriculture. Second, provide MSP on C2 plus 50. Third, one nation, one market. All of these three are implemented. Next, it suggests any surplus land and wasteland shall be distributed among farmers. Which farmer? Landless farmers. Because a large number of farm labor is landless. They work on somebody else's land, they get a part of the produce. So the Swaminathan committee suggested if government of India has surplus land or any waste land, give that to the farmers, the landless farmer, let them develop it. Khali to pada hai, use it. And it suggested do not divert any prime agricultural land or forest for any non-agricultural activity. Government of India ये बात नहीं सुनती है. For developmental project, they keep on transferring these land. It should not be done according to this committee. Next, create a land use advisory service. Suggest किया गया है, हुआ नहीं कभी. National Land Use Advisory Service. Basically, it's suggested to create a special service, like you have IAS, IPS, to create a special service known as National Land Use Advisory Service. These people will be expert of land use management, so they can create as a link between decisions regarding ecological, meteorological, and marketing factors on season specific basis. So there will be a special service, government service of National Land Use Advisory Service, who will be expert of land management, keeping the idea of ecological, meteorological, market factors. They can decide the land management in India. Clear? Next point. ये तो सबको समझ ही आ रहा होगा. Sustainable, equitable access to water, formal credit system, because you know the problem. If you take credit for non-formal sources, that person charges heavy interest and make you come under the burden. Then that person take away your land. To avoid this, have access to formal credit system. Along with this, establish agricultural risk fund, because farmer often face the risk of natural calamity. Establish a common fund, implement a nominal charges on the people, maybe as the part of income tax cess or maybe other mechanism. From that, you will generate revenue, put that into a central fund or state fund, and from this fund, if there is any natural calamity, provide money to the farmers. Okay? Next, Kisan credit card for women farmers, because the biggest problem in India with respect to women farmers is 60% of farm labor is women, because majority of the male comes to urban area to work. But government of India does not recognize them as farmers, because India mein farmers are recognized based on land ownership, and majority of the women in rural area do not have land ownership. So in spite of they are the real cultivator, yet they are not recognized as a farmer. Because of this, every farming scheme of government goes to males only, like this PM Kisan and all, in which government give money. This does not go to the real farmer, the woman, or the landless laborer. It goes to the owner of the land, even if that person is not doing any farming. This is a big problem here. Okay? Next, crop insurance coverage. Have some crop insurance coverage for all India, because crop fails. If you have a coverage of insurance, then at least you can start a new season. You would not have to commit suicide. Okay? Another thing, provide a health insurance and revitalize primary health centers. And we know what is the scenario of primary health centers in India. I told you health is the last point of focus of the government. Okay? Particularly Delhi में तो अच्छा हो गया है. Delhi में schools and hospitals are improving. Hospitals okay hai, but schools are very much improved. And you can guess this by the fact that when Melania Trump, the Donald Trump's pata nahi 4th, 6th, 7th wife, jo bhi hai, that person came to Delhi, so government of India took her to a Delhi government school. अगर इतना ही शौक था तो ले जाते हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में, because there is a BJP government, इतने शौक है ले जाते, बिहार स्कूल में ले जाते, झारखंड में ले जाते. But they took her to Delhi government school. They acknowledge that little efforts have been taken. Okay, fine. State level, farmers commission. Establish a commission at the level of state for farming issues. For example, any MSP dispute or other dispute, they can take care. Last is public awareness campaign. So all these points I believe are very important. Rot learn them if you're writing, because UPSC में the amount of question it asks from entire economics is the equal amount of question it asks from agriculture. Agriculture has roughly equal weightage to entire economics. So it's very, very important. All these recommendations you can put in suggestion anywhere. Okay? Please remember them. Last, see what is Swaminathan's role in Green Revolution. We know what is Green Revolution. Green Revolution was introduction of HYV seeds. High, सही तो है, high yield variety. These were genetically modified seeds which were introduced in India as a part of Green Revolution. The advantage, Green Revolution has made India food sufficient. The disadvantage, it is an ecological disaster, health disaster. The use of artificial chemical fertilizer is increasing pollution among bodies, something we call bioaccumulation. है? आपको इम्पैक्ट नहीं पड़ेगा, जनरेशंस में इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है. जो बायोअक्यूमुलेशन हो रहा है, आपके बाद नहीं, तो फिर वही सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट का आर्ग्यूमेंट है ना. बिकॉज ठीक है, बायोअक्यूमुलेशन ओके फाइन चलता है, और देन वाटर इज डायरेक्टली डिप्लीटेड, इट्स लिमिटेड. आपको अगर पता हो तो वी हैव NCRB, नेशनल क्राइम रिकॉर्ड ब्यूरो, which publish data about crimes in India. According to that, every year India में food and water riots are increasing by 140%. Year on year basis में India में we are having more food and water riots than civil riots. Lynchings and all these are very few examples, but media का focus पे ज़्यादा होता है, because that you can make Hindu-Muslim angle there. So the food riots, 140% increase in food and water riots every year in India, and nobody is talking. So this is the problem I always told you. A dead media, a big sold out media, gives birth to a dead citizen who knows nothing about their country. Okay, remember that. Anyway, Green Revolution, HYV seeds along with assured irrigation and fertilizers. So whenever anyone say Green Revolution, there are three components: HYV seed, assured irrigation, and fertilizers. Disadvantage, bioaccumulation within body because of pesticide, herbicide, chemicals. Second problem, too much extraction of water for irrigation leading to depleting groundwater. ठीक है? एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते, नहीं कर सकते. ये केवल टू इम्प्रूव दिस कैन हैपन फ्रॉम पार्लियामेंट. पार्लियामेंट इफ पासेस अ लॉ ऑन मीडिया फ्रीडम तो कुछ हो पाएगा, या कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में अमेंडमेंट. जैसे अमेरिका में दे अमेंडेड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. द फर्स्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट गारंटीज फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच. American government cannot touch you for freedom of speech. It's a guaranteed in the first constitutional amendment, and press freedom is specifically written in American Constitution. इसलिए तो अमेरिका के जर्नलिस्ट डरते नहीं है किसी से, वो प्रेसिडेंट को भी सुना देते कहीं पे भी. ठीक है, हमारे नहीं सुना पाते. These are hybridized seeds, kind of genetically modified. As far as I know, I'm not expert of science and tech. Pavan, so you ask the science and tech teacher. I'm not very sure about it. Okay. Okay, fine. चलिए. And who is the father of Green Revolution? नहीं, Norman Borlaug. Who is the father of Green Revolution in India? M.S. Swaminathan. ठीक है, both are different people. चलिए, anyway, this we have and problem we have discussed. Next is what? हाँ, he gave a good idea. Green Revolution की जगह he gave the idea of evergreen revolution. What is this idea? Let's see. Basically, evergreen revolution simply understand sustainable green revolution. A green revolution means surplus production of food. When it is sustainable over generation, it will be called evergreen revolution. Simply, it was M.S. Swaminathan who coined this term. It basically achieving continuous and sustainable improvement in agriculture productivity without causing harm to environment and society. So remember this term, evergreen revolution, which means sustainable green revolution. ठीक है, बाकी you just read once. Next, this is a very good idea MS Swaminathan gave. MS Swaminathan gave 5-point action program for nutritional security in India. We have a problem, you know, this nutrition problem. National Family Health Survey highlights 50% of women in India are malnourished, one-third children are stunted, and for the first time since 1990s, nutrition in India is declining. It is not improving, it is declining. So for this is a very good suggestion given by MS Swaminathan. Number one, ensure calorie-rich diet for adolescent girl, especially mothers and children. Calorie-rich diet, junk food nahi. This is the biggest problem. I told you earlier also. A lot of us eat food, but it is junk. We should eat food which is holistic. It should have everything in it. The proteins, the omega alpha, whatever is there. Well, beans, you should eat dals, beans, vegetables. It's a complete mix because your body needs nutrients from a complex mechanism and complete. और हम जाता क्या करते हैं? We keep on eating junk. ठीक है, हमने खाया, उसमें से ये निकाला, ये निकाला, ये निकाला, and ये खा लिया. That should not happen. It should be a complex and complete mix. Okay. Next, so first point is clear. Ensure calorie-rich diet. Calorie-rich diet for adolescent girl. हाँ, जैसे for example egg. Karnataka में I think this experiment was started. They gave egg in midday meal scheme, and there was तो हो सकता है बिहार में भी हो. There was a significant improvement in nutrition. Huh? Week में one day, okay, fine. But then you know the problem. Hinduism has a problem with non-veg, and the Hindu group came and they were like, you are trying to make them Muslim. कुछ भी stupidity. हाँ तो substitute कर सकते. You can say this if somebody does not want to eat egg, give substitute. वो ठीक है. But ये कहना you are trying to Islamicize the people by giving egg, ये तो मतलब हद ही पार है. अच्छा समझा. वैसे भी एग वेजिटेरियन होता है, किसने बताया तुम्हें? तो फर्स्ट पॉइंट इज कैलोरी रिच. करें हो गया क्या बात हो रही है? कहाँ टाइम नहीं, रुक जाओ, जल्दी से करना है. सेकेंड पॉइंट जल्दी देखो. सेकेंड पॉइंट, intakes of protein in the form of pulses, but 200 rupee pulses nowadays. So how would you afford this? Anyway, calorie rich diet, intake of pulses, and micronutrient. I told you the biggest problem of nutrition problem in women is iodine, vitamin and iron, IVI. So for that he suggested provide micronutrient, vitamin A, vitamin B, iron and zinc. They are available in the form of tablets also. So they will have complex food, calorie rich diet, protein intake, have some dals and something. If you do not eat chicken, then dals and something is good. And then have tablets. They are very cheap, easily available multivitamin tablets. Government of India can easily provide them for free, and you will deal with most of the problem. Along with this, clean drinking water and nutrition literacy. So these are the 5 steps of ensuring a prosperous India, which is literally in Amrit Kal, not by words but by means. Clear? चलिए बाकी सजेशन आप पढ़ते रहना, मैं थक गया पढ़ा के. अगला देखो, रुक जाओ. Legislator immunity. Let me summarize this news. What is the drama? There are 3 news. Let me summarize quickly. Legislator immunity from prosecution. We have some articles in the constitution known as Article 105 and Article 194 provide legal immunity to our legislator against any criminal prosecution for anything they do in, कहाँ गया, नीचे होगा यहाँ पे, sorry यहाँ पे, anything they do in parliament. Why this was given? Because criminal offenses come under the power of the state governments. And I told you what is the responsibility of legislator? 2. First, make laws to govern all of us. Second, keep an eye on the government on behalf of us. How would you keep an eye on the government if government is authoritarian? And if you say anything in the parliament, for example, you say anything against Modi ji, बाहर खड़ी होगी ED and CBI, चलो, UAPA on you. So for that, and this can happen. Indira Gandhi's time, for example, if you dare to criticize Indira Gandhi, and she will be like, चलो बाहर निकलो, देख लूंगी तुम्हें बाहर में सबको, ठीक है? So this should not happen. So for that, we gave them legal protection. If you're criticized, you can criticize anyone. You can raise any point. You can raise any point. You can say anything whatsoever, and no, nothing you say in parliament can be brought to the court of law. Very important provision. But some people abuse this also. Particularly the Jharkhand person, जिसके कारण ये केस हुआ है. सीता सोरेन, आई थिंक ये चीफ मिनिस्टर की बीवी लग रही है मेरे को. इशी हाँ यस वो पार्लियामेंट यस बिल्कुल सही. दैट पर्सन हु सेड समथिंग टू द मुस्लिम एमपी दिस मिस्टर भदूड़ी जी, एंड ही वाज even given some honor also. BJP made him the chief of election somewhere, शायद हरियाणा में, पता नहीं कहाँ पे. ठीक है, तो they said you give so much of गाली, हरियाणा deserves you. ठीक है, deserves you. ठीक है. Anyway, so Sita Soren, a Jharkhand Mukti Morcha member, is facing accusation of accepting bribe in exchange of her vote during Rajya Sabha election. So Rajya Sabha election में she took some money to vote in a particular fashion. This is under Supreme Court, and let's see what the judgment come. So clear है why it is important. This legal immunity is very, very, very important. Some people abuse it. For this, Supreme Court will give a judgment. Judgment has not come yet. We have to wait. चलो जल्दी अगली वाली पे चलो. ये मैंने आपको समझाई देता है. प्रॉब्लम ऑफ अंडर ट्रायल्स. सोचिए 77%, 70 क्या 77% of entire prison population in India is under trials, and all India occupancy is 130. मतलब हमारा justice system is working very fine. So just 77% of all people in prisons are under trial. These are not convicted. These are not the people who have been given punishment after trial. These are the people who are accused. They may or may not be criminal. हो सकता है at the end of the trial it is found that person is not a criminal, and you have made that person to spend entire life in jail. And if you look at the composition, again caste comes into play. All the people who are in these prisons under trial, I'm talking about, exclusively they are SC, ST, OBC and minorities. So it shows that if you are upper caste, then you have a lot of luxury in India. The same way, if you are a white man, you have a lot of luxury in America. The chances that an American police will stop a black or colored person is multiple times higher than a white person. Even if white person having a ganja in the car doesn't matter. Even if you are having a normal cigarette, chalo beta jail. Understand? Because police judiciary does not come from heaven. These are the people who may be sitting in such classroom one day preparing for an exam. ठीक है, police exam or judicial exam. So these people have the same values that we all have. They have the same biases that we all have. They are not out of society. And the biases we have, so they will also have. Clear? And because of this, the problem is of occupancy. So ये तो हो गया composition. The remaining problem is for judiciary. Because Indian judicial system is not having sufficient number of judges, that too sufficiently prepared, sufficiently trained. Clear everyone? So the only two reform, मैं हर बार कहता हूँ, the only two reform we need immediately to literally lead to Amrit Kal, not in words but in deeds, police reform and judicial reform. इसके बाद एक और बचा, जल्दी देखो, लास्ट न्यूज है. पॉक्सो, 5 मिनट है हमारे पास. पॉक्सो, protection of children from sexual offense. What is the problem here? POXO is a good law. POXO was made to protect children. Remember, it's a gender neutral act. Anyone who is the below of 18 years of age, if they are sexually assaulted, even tried to be assaulted, that POXO comes into play. It's a very stringent act. You are immediately arrested. And the child is immediately taken into police custody, but not police wala custody. Special child units you have. Very good law. Now, what is the problem? The problem beforehand is consensual sex in underage. There have been a large number of cases that where young teenagers are involved in sexual activities. Parents find it out, immediately policemen. And particularly if the other person is adult. The consensually happened everything. And the consensually happened, but because you are less than 18, so it is assumed, POXO it is assumed, if you are less than 18, you are unable to give a consent. This is the problem this committee was analyzing. नीचे इसका नाम होगा, आ गया नाम यार. ये 22nd लॉ कमीशन रिकमेंडेशन और डिफरेंट, पता नहीं कहाँ है, नाम देख लेना, इसमें नाम लिखा है, ठीक है. So recently a committee was appointed by government of India to overhaul this law. So she recommended that do not reduce the age from 18. तो आप लोग पहले मुझे बताइए, what should we do? Should we reduce the age? No, why no? हाँ कह रहे हो, ना कह रहे हो? इसमें मैं एज ऑफ कंसेंट की बात कर रहा हूं. फॉर म्यूचुअल सेक्सुअल इंटरकोर्स शुड बी लेसन द एज और नॉट फ्रॉम 18 और नॉट. सारे ना बोल रहे हैं, हाँ बोलो को समझ नहीं आ रहा. सबका नो है? आप हाँ बोल रहे हो, ओके. एनीवन एल्स विद यस? काहे तुम फंसे थे क्या? वजह बताओ, क्या क्या हो गया? अरे मैं समझ गया भाई. हाँ, वाई यस, वाई यस. हाँ, understand this. Age of consent vary around the world. This is the problem because it depends upon cultural ethos, values. अब जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल मोस्ट ऑफ द कंट्रीज में जो जनरल एज है वो 14 से 16 है. मोस्ट ऑफ द यूरोपियन कंट्रीज फॉलो 14 years of consent age. Some countries have 11 years of consent age, जो मैं मानता हूँ बहुत ही कम है. 11 तो बहुत ही कम हो गया. तो I believe 16 is good age. 16 as the age of consent is very good. और anyway we are a very prudent society with 140 crore people. तो इसका मतलब वी आर डूइंग समथिंग. 140 ऐसे ही नहीं हो गए हम लोग, तो वी आर डूइंग समथिंग, बट वी डू नॉट लाइक टू टॉक अबाउट इट. इट्स सच अ टैबू टॉपिक. अगर आपने देखा ना, आप हम सबके साथ होता है. इफ इट कम्स ऑन टीवी, वी आर वाचिंग टीवी, वी गेट अ बिट, यू नो, काइंड ऑफ ओ माय गॉड, क्या हो गया, ठीक है, व्हाई दिस कॉन्डम एड इज कमिंग हियर. कोई बात नहीं, आई हैड यूज्ड दिस यस्टरडे, बट फिर भी आई विल नॉट यूज. दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम. वी नीड टू trivialize talking about sex. It's a common part of the society, and suggestion is, the committee has given a good suggestion that you can reduce the age, make it 16, but there's a problem. What about the cases where the consent can also be manufactured? Remember this. Consent can also be manufactured. The way I told you opaque state works, the other things work. You can create such an aura, even the consent can be manufactured. So the committee suggests keep the age 18, but for 16 to 18 give judicial discretion. Matlab the age will be 18 of consent, but if there is a mutual consensual sexual intercourse between 16 to 18, the judge, the court can let off the person. तो सबको समझ में आ रहा है? 18 will be the age of consent along with judicial discretion from 16 to 18 years. मैं थोड़ा कम होना चाहिए था, 15 ठीक रहता. 15 to 18 is a good parameter. Clear सबको? Age of consent vary around the world from 11 the least. 11 शायद किसमें है पता नहीं. 11, हाँ, नाइजीरिया में it's the age of consent is 11 and the highest age of consent is 21 in बहरीन. ठीक है, anyway, तो ठीक है, फाइन, क्लियर एवरीवन. तो क्या रिकमेंडेशन क्या है? कीप 18 with judicial discretion from 16 to 18, and age of consent varies around the world ranging from 11 to 21. The most general is 14 and 16. Clear? चलो, bye bye then, have a nice day. Welcome. हाँ, साल वाल का नहीं, क्वालिटी पे होता है. एक साल, जिस साल अटेम्प्ट दोगे ना उस साल करना, या उससे एक साल पहले से शुरू कर दो. अभी तो टाइम होगा आपके पास. 26 में है तो 25 से स्टार्ट कर देना. अभी केवल क्लास अटेंड करो, सुनते रहो. यस, वेरी बाय बाय एवरीवन, हैव अ नाइस इवनिंग, नाइस डे.